Well, Al Jazeera's Jacky Rowland is live for us in the opposition stronghold of Benghazi. Jacky, before we touch on some of the challenges awaiting the NTC, tell us about the mood today in Benghazi. Of course, we saw huge scenes of celebrations there just 24 hours ago. What's the mood like tonight? Is it more subdued?
Yes, it's a lot calmer, fully. I mean, last night was a very particular night, and even the night before there were celebrations as the very first signs of rebellion emerged in Tripoli. Last night really was an exceptional night. It was a night where people saw, if you like, the fruition of a revolt which started here more than 6 months ago. This evening, really a lot calmer. You can see, or you may be able to see behind me, there's very little traffic on the road. It's really quite quiet. I think people really now are waiting to hear further details of exactly when and how the whole of Tripoli will be brought under the control of the rebels and that the city will be secured.
And when are the NTC, Jacky, expecting a complete liberation of Tripoli? Are they giving any information about what their next move is likely to be as far as Tripoli?
Well, as you just heard there in that extract of the statement by Mustafa Abdul Jalil when he said that the road ahead would not be a bed of roses, I think he's trying to be quite realistic about the challenges ahead. The first challenge, obviously, is a security challenge. Tripoli, a big city, there's no one really in charge there at the moment. There are various different militia and various different commanders and the local people. The second thing will be actually how to try to ensure that the various opposition forces who came together for the push against Gaddafi don't kind of disintegrate into factional fighting, which may in fact have been behind the death of the rebel military commander Abdel Fattah Yunus, who was killed at the end of July. In the longer term, they'll be looking towards a political transition. That will involve a lot of hard work, a lot of work that will be going on behind the scenes, but important work nonetheless. Drawing up an electoral law, drafting a constitution, holding elections, putting in place transitional bodies to run the country until then, a process that may take 18 months. But obviously none of that can begin until the situation in Tripoli and in other cities where there are still pro-Gaddafi elements in place has been resolved.
And of course, as you just said there, Jacky, unifying the country will be one of the big challenges for the NTC. We heard the chairman, Mustafa Abdul Jalil, earlier give assurances that once the country was entirely free, that the rebels would lay down their weapons and go about their normal business. That could be a problem, I imagine, right? You have these young men who've now trained, who've got weapons. It could be an issue of whether they will or not lay down their weapons once the conflict is over.
I think everything would depend upon the modalities. If people feared that one particular faction, one particular tribe or clan was being asked to lay down its weapons at the expense of others, I think that they would be met with resistance. If, on the other hand, a professional police force and a professional army are established and young men, ex-fighters, have the opportunity to apply for jobs in those, then that might be different. But we must remember that a lot of these rebel fighters were really very ordinary young men, and some not so young men. Just 6 months ago, I remember some people I met on the front line in February and March of this year. One man used to work in a coffee shop, another one had been a marketing manager for a sporting brand. A lot of these people will probably be happy to go back to their normal lives, although obviously holding a weapon does give you a certain status in society, a certain power, and so obviously the whole business about demilitarizing these militias and deciding who will still hold weapons will be quite a sensitive business.
Okay, thank you very much, Jacky Rowland, live for us in the opposition stronghold of Benghazi.